Welcome to AK Anime Explainer. Today is explanation of Soul Land 3, Legend of the Dragon King Part 129. Without any delay, start explanation. Were Long Chen not eliminated in the beginning of the match, the Imperial Sun Moon Academy team might have had a chance to turn things around. But without their captain, they were stuck on the defensive. Long Chen finally regained consciousness. Jaw clenched in pain and neck sore, he slowly recovered sight of the arena as he roused. The view before him, that of a spectator looking in, confused him at first. Eventually, he came to the conclusion he had been defeated, though how in which he had been taken down he could not recall. His face soured. Through sheer will, Long Chen slowly but surely grasped at the bits of memory floating in his mind. The process of bringing out his full strength, soul power coursing through his veins. The strange sensation that overtook his body right after. His brow furrowed as he remembered his source of power snuffed out like a candle wick. His body had frozen, leaving him open to his opponent's attacks and an instant knockout. He was disappointed with himself. He knew how important this match was for his academy, yet he had gotten eliminated and left them at a huge disadvantage. Even so, the match wasn't over yet. He had faith in his teammates. Although he was the captain, he wasn't the true ace of their team. You guys have to win. He clenched his fists. Sky Tiger. Jian Mochen shouted, blood streaming down the corner of his mouth. Quang Zhantian threw her Sky Tiger axe. Not at Tang Wulin or anyone else on the Shrek Academy team, but at Jian Mochen. In one quick motion, Jian Mochen tossed his shield to meet the axe. The instant the two touched, a blinding light illuminated the arena, swallowing Jian Mochen and Quang Zhantian whole. From the light burst a gigantic winged tiger, heading straight for Guu's blue fireballs. Upon impact, the dazzling blue explosions shook the arena. Knocked back, the tiger let out a roar of pain as the flames penetrated into its body and dyed it blue. Is that a soul fusion skill? It's gotta be. Tang Wulin's evaluation was correct. Jian Mochen and Quang Zhantian fused their martial souls to summon a Sky Tiger. As powerful as the tiger was, the might of the fireballs had been unquestionable and wasn't something it could just shrug off. The tiger's form flickered transparent, brought forth by its great energy consumption to endure the attack. Tang Wulin straightened his back, determined light gleaming in his eyes. His blood essence surged in reverse and starlight shrouded his claw, manifesting as a golden gauntlet. Battle armor, the referee blurted out from the air. Is that actually a piece of two-word armor? No way. It can't be. He's too young to handle such a thing. It must be something else, like a one-word armor piece made of spirit alloy. Although the referee and the higher-ups of the Imperial Sun Moon Academy held Shrek Academy in contempt, upon sight of Tang Wulin's gauntlet they were overcome with shock and disbelief. If it had only been something out of the ordinary, they wouldn't be so bitter. But the sheer impossibility of Tang Wulin's actions was what drove them up the wall. How strong his body must be to handle such a powerful gauntlet at his age, the higher-ups of the Imperial Sun Moon Academy couldn't begin to comprehend. Normally, only blacksmiths of the 6th rank or higher could craft one-word battle armor with spirit alloy, let alone a 5th-rank blacksmith. Generally, academies didn't allow their students to enlist outside help and force them to cooperate with each other. Only then would they be able to truly walk the path of a battle armor master. There were unwritten rules for battle armor masters. During the creation of a set of two-word battle armor, which included the process of designing, forging, crafting, and tuning, none of those involved could be more than one soul ring level apart. The gap in age is no more than 3 years. This way, everyone's blood essence and aura were similar to one another, enabling the end user of the battle armor to fully fuse with it. Two-word battle armor was considered a turning point and threshold for true battle armor because such armor could fuse with the user and become an extension of their body. During the fusion, every detail mattered, and the slightest mistake could ruin everything. In comparison, it was far easier to advance from two-word to three-word. At that point, the user could borrow help from not just their peers. This was why battle armor was so rare and difficult to craft. Many conditions had to be met to successfully create a two-word armor. Although one-word battle armor didn't face the same restrictions, what Tang Wulin had wasn't ordinary one-word armor. Since it was crafted from spirit alloy, it already had the basic functionality of a two-word armor. It was practically a prototype two-word gauntlet. He couldn't replace it anymore since it had fused with his body, so it had been under the same restrictions as a two-word piece of armor. From this, the higher-ups of the Imperial Sun Moon Academy deduced that Tang Wulin had personally had a hand in crafting it. Not only that, the people who helped him were within 3 years of age and 1 soul ring level from him. Such restrictions were nigh impossible for those his age to fulfill. He wasn't just strong, but he was also backed up by a group of prodigal professionals. That was far more terrifying than his strength. Despite only possessing a gauntlet at the moment, Tang Wulin had a likely future as a battle armor master from his foundation. It was shocking. No one at the Imperial Sun Moon Academy had ever considered the same path as him, and neither did the teachers. All of them thought it was impossible. They shared the same narrow perspective as the rankers had. But Tang Wulin and his friends had shattered all expectations, and the evidence was there for all to see. A mighty draconic roar shook the arena as Tang Wulin drew circles in the air with his arms. Then he punched with his claw, unleashing golden dragon shocks the heavens. A giant golden dragon's head rushed out of his fist, roaring toward the flickering sky tiger. The tiger snarled and beat its wings at the incoming phantom dragon head. The two clashed high in the air, a blinding explosion filling the sky followed by a shockwave. Tang Wulin showed no fear. He was completely confident in Golden Dragon shocks the heavens. Other soul masters may have been terrified to face a soul fusion skill, but not Tang Wulin. He had encountered so many already, like the Forest of Ice or Wu Sidwa's Hell White Tiger. The Sky Tiger was stronger than Hell White Tiger since it was powered by 2 people. Still, Tang Wulin had grown far stronger since the time he faced Wu Sidwa. His soul power, blood essence, and body had all improved. Furthermore, the Sky Tiger was already weakened by Guu's bombardment. He had nothing to be afraid of. When the dust cleared, the Sky Tiger was nowhere to be seen. Instead, 2 people fell from the skies, their robes rippling from free fall. From those in the stands to those watching at the comfort of their homes, the millions of spectators could not rein in their shock. Before their very eyes had occurred a match between 14 and 15-year-olds, yet everything about it screamed otherwise, from the explosive displays of power to the quick-witted teamwork. He's able to beat a soul fusion skill with only 3 soul rings? This question rang loud in everyone's thoughts. Everyone knew that Shrek Academy was powerful, but few truly understood the extent of that power. Until now. Tang Wulin had shown them just that. Of what sort of monsters Shrek Academy nurtured. Be it strength or technique, Shrek Academy's students were perfect. Captain so awesome. Xie descended from the air, heading straight for Wang Daimin and Yu Dingqi. While everyone's eyes had been glued to Tang Wulin, Xie had quietly slipped into the enemy's rear line. He appeared out of thin air like a wraith and slashed at the 2 of them. Dumbstruck by Tang Wulin's performance, Yu Dingqi couldn't react in time to defend himself. The battle was practically over. After using their soul fusion skill, Huang Zhantian and Jian Mochen would drastically weaken. Gone was the suspense. Victory was within Tang Wulin and his team's grasp, and with that came acing their exam. All of a sudden, Wang Daimin let out a ear-piercing wail. It erected a wall of ice in front of Yu Daimin, which then exploded and sent Xie flying backward. Liu Shuang. Wang Daimin shouted, icy blue light swirling around her. She opened her arms wide toward the air, a fairy ascending to a higher realm. A blue light enveloped Liu Shuang as well, the same moment Yi Xinglan's Star-God sword pierced her. But Yi Xinglan felt no resistance, as though she stabbed air. Taking advantage of Yi Xinglan's confusion, Liu Shuang leaped into the air and fused with Wang Daimin. It was at that moment Tang Wulin landed, his complexion pale after unleashing his strongest attack. He stared at the scene before him wide-eyed. What? They have a second soul fusion skill? It finally struck him why the Imperial Sun Moon Academy was so confident in their victory, to the extent that they pushed to have the match broadcasted throughout the continent. They truly were worthy of being one of the greatest academies on the continent. Had Tang Wulin not eliminated Long Chen instantly in the beginning, the Imperial Sun Moon Academy team would have been able to overwhelm them with their two soul fusion skills. Up in the air, the glowing blue figures of Wang Daimin and Shui Liushuang fused. In their place was a 2-meter-tall woman wearing a long blue dress. In her hands, an icy blue sword. A circle of light shined behind her head, illuminating her beautiful features, which were a combination of Wang Daimin and Shui Liushuang's best physical traits. As soon as she had come to be, the temperature in the arena plummeted. From her form emanated waves of power far stronger than that of the Sky Tiger. Their fusion rate was much higher. Ice Goddess. It was the Imperial Sun Moon Academy's true trump card. Starlight burst. Xu Xiaoyan shouted. Starlight converged into a beam that pierced through the Ice Goddess, establishing absolute control. It dyed the body of the Ice Goddess golden, left it frozen in the air. Not a beat later, a brilliant star descended from the sky. It was Yi Xinglan with her third soul skill, Starfall Sword. Such perfect coordination between Xu Xiaoyan and Yi Xinglan. A metallic clang. Yi Xinglan bounced off the Ice Goddess, feeling as though she had flown face first into a wall. There was no moving it. At the same time, the Ice Goddess dispelled the golden starlight from her body, returning to her normal icy hue. She floated in the air just as before, not a dent in sight. Yi Xinglan bit her lip. Their fusion rate has to be at least 80%. They are at least as strong as that battle armor master we ran into the other day. The Ice Goddess brandished her sword, sending out 3 beams of blue light. Spectral sword art. However, it had nothing in common with the version Shui Liushuang had used. Each beam possessed an incomparably sharp aura, enough to slice through bone. The 3 beams each had their own target, Tang Wulin, Yi Xinglan, and Xu Xiaoyan. The 3 people who the Imperial Sun Moon Academy team deemed the greatest threats. Gasps filled the stands as Xie jumped in front of the beam meant for Xu Xiaoyan, shielding her with his body. He disintegrated into a cloud of dust the next second. This was just a match, not a battle to the death. But the spectators' shock was unneeded. Xie reappeared a short distance away, coughing up a mouthful of blood. It had been a clone that was destroyed. The instant the Ice Goddess had appeared, Tang Wulin stuffed the bean bun he had since been carrying into his mouth, chewed, and swallowed. His strength further amplified, he brought forth the full might of Golden Dragon shocks the heavens once more. The phantom dragon head slammed into the Ice Goddess. A shockwave erupted. But the Ice Goddess was unharmed, a soft blue light glowing around her. At the same time, the collision sent Tang Wulin flying backward, wounds opening up all over his body and leaving a trail of blood. Alarmed, Yi Xinglan struck again, her star god sword blazing. Yet, she too was dealt with easily, blood spraying from her mouth. Xu Lishi rushed to her side, using his soul power to help stabilize her condition. When he was finally satisfied with her status, he glared at the Ice Goddess, eyes bright with fury. He bellowed and made to charge her, but a hand grabbed his shoulder and held him still. "Leave her to us." In a flash of silver, the hand disappeared and Gu appeared at Tang Wulin's side. They are not the only ones with a soul fusion skill. As she spoke, she wrapped her arms around Tang Wulin's wounded and freezing body from behind. A powerful buzzing filled the arena, gradually growing in strength until the entire arena trembled. Light enveloped Gu. She channeled it into Tang Wulin, dispelling the icy blue of his skin. Red, blue, yellow, green, gold, silver, and black. Specks of light of these very colors danced around Tang Wulin, entering his body. The Ice Goddess slashed down, sending a blue sword beam at the two. But the sword beam collapsed the moment it neared the 7-colored lights. Scales rippled into existence across Tang Wulin's entire body, dressing him in 7-colored draconic armor. Regal draconic might exploded from him. Long Chen stood awed before this dragon lord. He couldn't help but fall to his knees and prostrate himself to Tang Wulin. He shook uncontrollably down to his core. Tang Wulin's 7-colored scales quickly grew transparent and thicker. He now held the appearance of a shining dragon knight. An almighty roar ripped from his throat that demanded all to bow before him. 7-colored light burst around his body, a gale that originated from such an aura picking up his dark locks in flight. His pupils became reptilian, slit-like in nature, and a 7-colored light shined in their depths. He saw within his mind a strange scene, akin to a memory, in which countless soul beasts prostrated themselves eagerly, all in worship of him. His gauntlet took on a 7-colored hue. He couldn't comprehend what level of power he had achieved, but if there was one thing he knew, it was this: everyone before him was insignificant. Once more did the ice goddess strike down with her sword, focusing all her strength this time. Tang Wulin's surroundings froze before her might, the chill of her attacks absolute. He thrust his 7-colored claw out, clutching the blade. A metallic clang pierced the air. He exerted his strength and shattered the blade into thousands of shards. Arching a brow, Tang Wulin balled his claw into a fist and punched toward her. "I'll go easy on you." Before the punch met, the referee descended from the sky into the space between Tang Wulin and the ice goddess. His battle armor shined, bright and blinding as he braced himself to take the punch. A shockwave tore through the arena. Tang Wulin was motionless, his fist still caught by the referee. The referee's hand gained a 7-colored light. An instant later, 7 explosions rumbled in succession, each growing in intensity. Each enough to send trembles through his body. The referee was a 3-word battle armor master. Yet he had so much trouble taking Tang Wulin's punch. He had never expected that even with his 3-word battle armor and his titled Dolor strength, he would feel fear toward Tang Wulin's punch. Moreover, the 7 elemental explosions had shook him to the core. This is the soul fusion skill of a pair of 3-ringed kids. Just what kind of fusion rate do they have to be this powerful? As the blue glow receded from the ice goddess's form, her figure faded away, leaving Shui Liushuang and Wang Daimin to fall through the skies. Pale and stricken with fear, they came to realize what sort of tyrannical might Tang Wulin possessed once their sword had shattered in their ice goddess form. Their instincts screamed danger. If the referee hadn't intervened, they were certain they would have died. Just what kind of soul fusion skill is that? Tang Wulin and Ji Yu descended from the air, and she separated from his back. With her departure settled an emptiness within him, as if a part of him had been removed. The seals of the Golden Dragon King trembled and the 4th loosened as though attacked by some energy. Xu Xiaoyan dashed to Ji Yu in support, the latter pale and on the verge of collapsing. Xie Xie rushed to Tang Wulin's aid. Tang Wulin gritted his teeth and shot his gaze at the referee. Did we win yet? His simple question resounded throughout the entire arena. All eyes were glued on him. In this match between the titans of the next generation, the victors were now clear. There was no room for doubt. The Imperial Sun Moon Academy team had the Holy Radiant Dragon, a Sky Tiger Soul fusion skill, and an Ice Goddess fusion skill. Yet they still lost. It was a complete and utter defeat. "Can you tell us what the name of your soul fusion skill is?" the referee asked. Tang Wulin stared back at him blankly. Its name? He hadn't a clue. The first time he had used it, he and Ji Yu lost consciousness for a long time and they didn't dare try it again. Today was only his 2nd time using the skill. Perhaps it was due to their increase in strength that they hadn't immediately passed out. After all that was said, he still didn't have a name for the fusion skill. But it turned out he didn't need to worry. Dragon God Transformation. Ji Yu croaked. Dragon God Transformation. The referee cracked a bitter smile. Fine. You win. Tang Wulin grinned. He waved at the silent audience, who were too stunned to make a peep. Then with a smirk, he moved a finger to his lips and shushed them. Xie Xie nudged Tang Wulin as he supported his captain, urging him to make their getaway. If not, then they would soon be drenched in a rain of spit. He paused to readjust his grip on Tang Wulin. You really are a glutton. Tang Wulin looked at him, confused. What do you mean? Rolling his eyes, Xie Xie said, You're so heavy. Isn't it obvious? Silent, Tang Wulin brought a hand to his belly, patting and prodding the flesh. Xie Xie rolled his eyes again at the sight. Finished with his inspection, Tang Wulin glanced at Guu. Her eyes were closed, and she was only standing thanks to Xu Xiaoyon's support. He leaned toward Guu, speaking softly into her ear. Is the skill really called the Dragon God Transformation? Or did you just come up with that name? Her eyes burst open. She stared into his own, whispering, Dragon God Transformation. The first transformation is Dragon God Awakens. Is there a second transformation? Tang Wulin asked, eyes wide. Yes. Dragon God's 9 transformations. Though weak, her voice carried a forceful edge. A shiver ran down Tang Wulin's spine. But he was too exhausted to pursue the topic any further. Imperial Sun Moon Academy's staff and students alike watched as the 6 left the premises, faces pinched in conflict. No matter how prideful they might be, they couldn't deny the strength of the Shrek Academy students. In a 6 versus 6 battle, despite having 3 soul ancestors and 2 soul fusion skills, their team still suffered a total defeat. The words from the megaphone rang true. Today they were shown the gap in strength between Shrek Academy and themselves. Tang Wulin and his friend stumbled out of the elevator, arms flailing and elbows jutting into each other. They were in a hurry to leave the Imperial Sun Moon Academy. The moment they crossed the gates, they were startled by an impenetrable crowd. They knew Bright City was highly populated, but this went beyond their imagination. The match had been broadcasted to every household and public television in all of Bright City. Countless people had watched the entire match with bated breath, on the edge of their seats. Now many of them were coming to see the victors with their own eyes. Tang Wulin stuffed a pork bun into his mouth and took a deep breath. He gritted his teeth. He couldn't fall unconscious now. Guu, on the other hand, didn't seem to carry that same goal, eyes shut tight. Whether she was awake or not was anyone's guess. It'd be great if we had a car right now. Tang Wulin rubbed his forehead. Unfortunately for them, they had abandoned their car on the highway. As he was drowning in self-pity, a car dove from the sky and landed right in front of them. The door swung open to reveal Wu Zhongkong in the driver's seat. Get in. Teacher Wu. Tang Wulin burst into a smile. The 6 young men and women dashed into the car. Once they were strapped in, the doors closed and Wu Zhongkong took off. They sat nervously in their seats as the vehicle soared, accelerating through the sky. In a conference room tucked within the Imperial Sun Moon Academy, elderly and middle-aged men sat at a round table, their faces grim. Well, speak up. What do you all think of the match? All eyes moved to the speaker, an elderly man sitting at the head of the table. I don't know what I should say, said a middle-aged man seated next to the first speaker. Be it in terms of martial soul or battle prowess, we should have been superior. But they still managed to beat us in the end. Although there were 6 of them, one of the Shrek Academy students was a food type. As such, they basically had 5 combatants. Shaking his head, he said, the one we should pay the most attention to is that Tang Wulin. He was able to tip the scales in their favor by defeating Long Chen in an instant. I still can't understand how he did it. Just how was Long Chen eliminated so quickly? From what we saw of his strength afterward, Tang Wulin shouldn't have been able to overwhelm Long Chen like that. I asked Long Chen about that earlier, said another man. Apparently, his martial soul and soul power were struck with fear when he faced Tang Wulin. It made it impossible to bring out his full strength. Just think about their 7-colored soul fusion skill. It was outrageously oppressive. It was the aura of a tyrant. The elder at the head of the table frowned. It's not just tyrannical might. No, it must have been martial soul and attribute suppression as well. His eyes flashed with a solemn light. A higher being dominating those below it. How can that be? Blurted out one of the academy executives. The rest broke into speculative murmurs. They could not comprehend such a situation. Long Chen's martial soul was the holy radiant dragon. It was one of the martial souls that stood at the very apex of the world. In fact, his was a stronger variant. They had nearly spent their entire annual budget just to lure him away from joining Shrek Academy. Furthermore, among draconic martial souls, the Holy Radiant Dragon was among the cream of the crop. It was hard for them to believe that there was a dragon higher up on the hierarchy. The facts are facts, even if we struggle to believe them. That Tang Wulin must have a dragon martial soul as well, and one that outclasses every other dragon. Out of the countless dragon martial souls, only a few like the beast god of the great Star Doe forest can overwhelm the Holy Radiant Dragon, said the elder, deep in thought. As the headmaster of the Imperial Sun Moon Academy, it was true that he couldn't tolerate their shameful defeat. But that was just it. Shame. What truly sank his heart, the elephant in the room, was the disparity in strength between Shrek Academy and themselves. He had placed his hopes on this generation's representative team. In fact, the full team numbered 7, not 6. They were the Imperial Sun Moon Academy's 7 shining stars. They were the champions that were supposed to defeat Shrek Academy's team. Yet in their debut match, they themselves were defeated. This has to be one of their schemes. The headmaster gritted his teeth. I bet Shrek already knew about our 7 stars. They specially targeted them. There's no way we would have lost otherwise. A senior executive interrupted his internal agony. Is the beast god you're talking about the gold-eyed black dragon king, beast god Di Qian? The headmaster nodded. Yes, him. He's the reason why the Great Star Doe forest still exists. His cultivation level is already over 800,000 years, the true lord of the soul beasts. I'm not sure how many forward battle armor masters it would take just to stall him in his human form. He had escaped with several other soul beasts years ago when we attempted to neutralize them, and now they hide in the heart of the Great Star Doe forest. With them occupying the forest, it's become a forbidden area. That Tang Wulin's martial soul's aura was really bright, nothing like the gold-eyed black dragon king's. It must be another supreme dragon that Shrek Academy dug up. He only has 3 rings at the moment, but he already possesses a piece of one-word battle armor. His future is unimaginable. We have to investigate him. Bringing a hand to his chin, the headmaster continued, investigate that GUU girl as well. Her 3 blue fireballs consumed over half of the Sky Tiger Soul Fusion skill's power. Despite acting only once throughout the battle, she had done so at a crucial moment. We can't underestimate her. There's also that Yi Xinglan. He started counting on his fingers. She's even stronger than Liu Shuang. Her Star God sword arts are simply at a higher level. And that girl who summoned the gold light. Her control skills are unbelievable. She was even able to restrain the ice goddess for a split second. I'm afraid that even in a one-on-one scenario, each of their members outclass ours. Examine the match thoroughly. I want data and an analysis of every second. Understood. Moments after the car had taken to the air, a wave of dizziness crashed upon Tang Wulin. Darkness encroached on his vision from the sides. His body felt heavy and limp, and he could barely sit up straight in his seat. The pressure of the match and the Dragon God transformation had drained him of energy. Not only did it consume his soul power, but his blood essence and mental strength as well. A second later, he gave in to the call of slumber. In his dreams, the Golden Dragon King's 4th seal bulged and bent to some unseen force, on the verge of cracking entirely. Wake up, someone whispered into his ear. He opened his eyes and found himself in the palace in the depths of his mind. Standing before him, shimmering golden figure. Old Tang, Tang Wulin said. It had been a while since they last met. Boy, you really know how to make people worry. Old Tang sighed. Tang Wulin stared at Old Tang, concern clouding his eyes. Old Tang, what happened? Your 4th seal will only last 3 more months. You have to find the necessary spirit items and break the seal before then, Old Tang said grimly. Huh? Tang Wulin gaped. Isn't that too soon? Didn't I have plenty of time? At first, things were fine. Your strength was growing fast enough to handle the later seals and you were eating food that bolstered your blood essence. However, you did something that loosened the Golden Dragon King seals. Cracks have appeared in the 4th sea and the suppressed Golden Dragon King power within is beginning to stir. If you don't break the seal and take the power for yourself soon, the seal will collapse and the energies will run rampant in your body. At that moment, you might die. Tell me what you have been doing that may have caused this. Tang Wulin's heart thumped. The first thing that came to his mind was his soul fusion skill with Guu. A soul fusion skill, he blurted out. Soul fusion skill? Old Tang asked in astonishment. There's someone you can use a soul fusion skill with? Impossible. Yeah. Guu told me our soul fusion skill is called the Dragon God's 9 transformations. I didn't get a chance to ask her about its specifics though. Tang Wulin proceeded to recount all that had happened to him recently. Old Tang listened quietly, knitting his brows from time to time, and pressing his lips tightly together as his shimmering figure hovered there. I can't make any sense of it either. No one should be able to use a soul fusion skill with you. The Golden Dragon King's bloodline has transformed your body into something that is nothing like an ordinary human anymore. According to your story, that soul fusion skill consumed your soul power, blood essence, and spiritual power. All of these are the markers of a 100% fusion rate for a fusion skill, meaning that Guu girl's martial soul is compatible with yours. Except, you said her martial soul is the elementalist. That can't be. I can't think of any other martial soul that could be compatible with you either. Tang Wulin didn't expect that even old Tang was baffled by this. If even you don't know, then should I go ask my teachers? Old Tang shook his head. They don't understand your situation, let alone your soul fusion skill. I'll think about this carefully and see if I can find any clues. In the meantime, you have 2 urgent matters to attend to. First, you need to find the 4 spirit items within 3 months. With your current body strength, absorbing the power of the 4th seal should be easy. Second, absolutely do not use that soul fusion skill in the future unless you absolutely have to. It provokes the Golden Dragon King's energy within you and weakens the seals. If you use it again, you might have to break 2 seals at the same time and you'll be doomed to death. Understood? Tang Wulin's heart tightened and he quickly nodded. Got it. I won't use it unless I have to. Good. Also, since the 4th seal has been weakened, the timeline for the other seals have shifted as well. I'll tell you how long you have as we go. Even I can't evaluate them properly right now. Just do your best to prepare. Tang Wulin smiled bitterly. Just be direct with me. I need to go make more money to buy spirit items. Old Tang gave a warm smile. Yes, that's pretty much it. You don't need to be too anxious about it though. With your body as strong as it is now, you should be able to handle the next 3 seals. Your constitution will also continue to improve as you absorb the power of the Golden Dragon King. The effects will become far more apparent once you have 4 soul rings. The Golden Dragon King bloodline was like a double-edged sword for Tang Wulin. Although it offered immense power, it came at a high price. Tang Wulin's head started to ache as his thoughts reached to how he would acquire the 4 spirit items needed for the seal. Fortunately, he lived in Shrek City now, the greatest city on the continent. Spirit items were in abundance there. He wasn't too worried about money either. As long as he could smith, earning money wouldn't be too hard. I'll go visit the Tang sect when we get back. I need to earn some contribution points. The prices for spirit items are a bit cheaper there. Light and darkness swirled before his eyes. A moment later, Old Tang and the Golden Hall disappeared and he was back in darkness. As his consciousness faded away, a question appeared in his mind. If I gain a blood essence soul ring every 2 seals, then what kind of soul skill will I get from my second gold ring? When Tang Wulin woke up, he was lying on a bed. He raised a sore arm to rub his aching head, letting out a long groan as he opened his eyes. A chubby face popped out above him. Wulin, you're awake. Shu Lishi flashed his usual silly smile. My head hurts. Where are we? Tang Wulin asked. We're already back at Shrek. Don't you recognize our dorm room? Huh? We're back. Tang Wulin's eyes went wide. Before he lost consciousness, they were still in Bright City. The distance between Shrek City and Bright City was by no means small. Just how long was I asleep? Teacher Wu's flying car is really fast, much faster than a soul train. It only took us 5 hours to get back, Shu Lishi explained. That fast? Wow. Flying cars are so convenient. We should buy one next time. Tang Wulin was amazed but also disappointed that he hadn't been conscious for the ride. He had missed out on an amazing experience. On the other hand, Shu Lishi broke out into a cold sweat. It's nowhere near as amazing as you think. I feel sick just remembering the ride. Xiaoyan puked from the shaking, and I almost did too. Only Xie Xie and Xinglan seemed unfazed. You and Gu were shaking in your seats too. Lucky for you, you weren't awake. Anyway, that soul fusion skill is so awesome. You've got to be hungry after that. You want something to eat? Yeah, I'm starving. I'll eat until you're out of soul power, Tang Wulin said happily. Tang Wulin hadn't been exaggerating. For the next hour, he shoved pork buns into his mouth so fast it was like a raging waterfall. The only reason he hadn't eaten for longer was that Shu Lishi's soul power ran out, so he had to meditate. After Tang Wulin filled his belly with pork buns, a comfortable warmth spread throughout his body. His energy was quickly replenishing. Tang Wulin's body was far stronger than the last time he had used soul fusion skill, so the side effects weren't as serious this time. In fact, they were relatively minor. After examining his condition for a bit, Tang Wulin decided to test it in the future. First though, he had some matters to attend to. After the end of semester exam was a month of vacation. He needed to get his affairs in order before then, and find out whether his entire class passed or not. Tang Wulin had to meditate for a bit before he had the strength to walk. When he got out of his bed, he found that all of his confiscated possessions were arranged neatly on his desk. He picked up his soul communicator and called Wu Zhongkong. The moment Wu Zhongkong picked up, he told Tang Wulin he would come right over and to wait in his own room. Minutes later, the handsome ice prince, Wu Zhongkong, entered. Teacher Wu, how did we do on our exam? Tang Wulin asked. Full marks and bonus points. This video will end here. Like video and subscribe to my channel.